Iron Stories, Episode 8, Fellowship. Welcome back to Iron Stories. Yeah, so last time our character, Kaivan, died. Maybe I let him die, or maybe not. I think it made sense at that point because the situation was just so dire. It was so inescapable in a sense that it wouldn't make sense to change anything after that. And I think it's also more or less interesting just because it lets it lets the story progress in a sense. So now I have, maybe this can be seen as some sort of prologue or it's in its own story. And I mean, I call my podcast Iron Stories for a reason. So I could maybe tell stories all over the world or all over the Ironlands that may or may not at one point all will come together in a sense. And it also is interesting because it establishes San as a threat, as a overall threat to the world. As I said, in the world building, this makes sense to have different kinds of conflict that progress in the world. So you have maybe an inner conflict between so a conflict between people in itself. So there is humans are humans and they some sort of falling back into their old habits where they have to lead over somebody else. So it comes back to that. So we have this inner conflict between ourselves. We have external conflicts that we are not alone here. So we have the conflict of the firstborn, which we have seen in Sana that came up as an elf, or in my world I call them the not lost, those born from the forest. And there may be other kind of firstborn there. So there's a sort of conflicts, and there's also like an otherworldly conflict, so something that's completely out of our reach or out of our control, so to speak, which may or may not come into this mysticism, fantastical thing here, which sort of is kind of like as you would see in Game of Thrones or the books, the Song of Ice and Fire, you have these White Walkers or an otherworldly threat that comes in. So maybe San is something like that. That's why I say that's maybe some sort of like prologue, or maybe because we fled from a plague-like thing. So maybe this is something or this terrible sickness is what here it has evolved into this thing that it may or may not revive dead people. So something like in the Resident Evil games or in the Resident Evil franchise, where there's this T virus which is a virus that makes people undead, reanimates them in some sort. So maybe makes sense. So it makes sense maybe to have something like that to build on the world on top of it. So to basically have some sort of story establishing that. So maybe it's Kaivan wasn't there to live for a long time. And I mean, I had a good run with him. I ran it, I don't know, 6-7 hours with him. I think it's reasonable length for maybe a first character to live in such a world. I don't entirely know how how long this goes, but I've learned maybe some of the other things here, how to handle stuff. So let's create a new character then, and maybe let's create 2 new characters. Maybe I will create some sort of tag team that goes into the world and solving stuff. Maybe this makes it a bit easier or reasonable to traverse the Ironlands. Maybe just a lone wolf isn't cut out for that, or maybe this lone wolf needs to have had some sort of asset that maybe is better, or maybe I just did too hard of enemies against him. I don't know. This is maybe something I have to evolve while playing. So let's create a new character, and I have no idea for him currently what to do. So let's. I mean, that's why I have this nice random table, so to speak, in Ironsworn. So let's use them. Let me quickly also open the rulebook because I forgot that to do. So what the how the character creation is. So first it says I have to envision my character, which I have no idea what to do. So maybe what I could do, what I know what I want to do, or what I thought a bit, is I will want to start maybe in a different enclave. And maybe this time these characters that I'm creating are not outcasts, so they're not wardens. So maybe they have a bit better interactability with their surrounding. So maybe I do that. So maybe what I could do is maybe start with a location at a sea, coastal waters location. That's well, no, that's not like that. It's basically location. It should be how do I? Isn't there like some sort of oracle that I can create? Settlement name, yeah, that's maybe nice. So let's do this quick settlement name roll. Let's see what I roll here. Lost Crag. Doesn't sounds a bit ominous, but maybe this works as a coastal thingy. Yeah, why not? Yeah, it could work. So Lost Crag is so maybe there's like this isn't this like in the United Kingdom or in Great Britain, where they have this coastal lines, where they have this like almost like 90-degree drops in the coastal lines. I think it's somewhere there, so that maybe makes sense. There's like a crag outside that just overlooks, and there's like just a wall that just goes down onto the sea floor or ocean floor, so to speak. So maybe this, maybe the name makes sense. Why it's lost? Nobody knows. Maybe. But whatever. So let's say here, so it's the Lost Crag. Is a place here. So yeah. So that's maybe the birth home of that new character, maybe. So maybe it also makes sense to give that location a settlement trouble. To maybe have an idea what's going on. urgent expedition is the settlement trouble. Okay. That sounds settlement trouble, urgent expedition. Okay. This doesn't help me maybe much. Expedition. Well, maybe expedition out of the sea or not? Doesn't sounds. Maybe I have to find out what maybe this expedition is at the first place. So I mean, I could roll for a theme of that expedition. Why not? Time. That doesn't help me much. Let's do the inverse. 31 instead of 13. Hope. Doesn't also not make much sense. Shelter. Problem. Okay, this risk. This they don't all make sense. Honor. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. This doesn't work. Whatever. Let's maybe roll for a location here. Glade. Okay. So the urgent expedition is to a glade. Location glade. Maybe this makes sense. Okay, so we have maybe a character that is joining that expedition, or maybe both of them, or like they're putting together a expedition team, and these two are tasked to go to this expedition, to a mysterious glade out in the woods. Okay. Whatever. So yeah. So let's see. So let's create the first character here. So let's roll for a role and a goal. Okay, the role is an outcast. It doesn't make sense. A miner. Okay. And the character goal is enrich themselves. Okay. So this is maybe a little bit of a miner. Does a miner make sense at a seep location? Probably not. So what's 41 then? 41 pilgrim. Maybe this makes more sense. He's maybe a thievish. Yeah. So he's a sailor. Let's say he's a sailor, and he's trying to enrich themselves. Okay. So the role is like an are we maybe like an older type? Like, is this maybe like some sort of mentor mentee kind of things, like a master and student thing here? So like Sith Lord and his student, maybe, or maybe Jedi Knight and his Padawan. So yeah, maybe this makes sense. He's maybe an elderly guy that is teaching that still has the fight in him, and is teaching the new ones some ropes. So yeah, but why not make that as a descriptor here? So an elderly but fit well, elderly, like he's older, older but fit guy here, like kind of the master, a teacher kind of guy, but he's still fit, showing the young ones how it's done. So let's maybe roll for another descriptor here. Connected. Okay, so he's, I mean, it makes sense maybe, that he's I mean, he's a sailor, he's connected, so he traveled a bit, and maybe makes friends and enemies at every port that he frequented. Made friends and enemies at every port he came to, or he port he sailed to. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I mean, why he wants to enrich himself, maybe to make his old life more, or make to retire with style. Maybe that's this goal. So enrich themselves to retire with style. So yeah, okay, this makes sense. Okay, this comes together quite nicely. So he's there. So he was maybe. So maybe these two go to this urgent expedition because they say, okay, you can get some supplies or something, or maybe there's some artifacts in there. And these two, and so there's the old sailor that is there to this older guy, that is maybe that. So this makes sense. Okay, so yeah, that makes him. So let's see for a name for him. Let's see, Nakata. Doesn't sound that great. Jebran. That sounds interesting. Jebran. Okay, is his name. So yeah, this looks good. This sounds reasonable. Okay. So now I have to go for his stats and stuff, and bones and everything. So maybe also open up the youngling, so to speak. So let's make another character here. Where this is the guy where the Jebran is showing the ropes to. So let's see here. What's that guy's role? Priest. Okay. Maybe because I anyway wanted to try out some rituals. So maybe maybe it makes sense that he or that other character is maybe some sort of ritual user. So maybe some sort of mystic or something like that. There is a mistake here. Is there maybe something that makes more sense here? No. Okay, so maybe that's the role. Okay, so he is basically or that character is basically the role is like the student of Jebran, and is maybe some sort of mystic, has hidden magical powers. So he's trying to trying to hide them from others, and Jebran is, I mean, he's not happy about it. He knows, and just turns a blind eye on it. So maybe he's more accustomed to it. So what's the goal of that character? Let's see. Protect the status quo. Okay. I mean, in first thing is probably learn from Jebran. Protect the status quo. Maybe makes sense. Maybe not. So what's the descriptors for him or for her? Let's see if it's a guy or a girl. Descriptor old. Nope, he's an old. Remorseful. Okay. Hard-hearted. Experienced. Yeah, experienced he's definitely not. What would he be remorseful to? And also hard-hearted doesn't make really sense. Affectionate, intolerant, adventurous. Okay, so maybe make him remorseful. Maybe his magic or ritual hurt somebody that he loved. So he's remorseful of that. He is I mean adventurous, maybe. Adventurous. This makes sense. So he wants to learn the world. He wants to learn the world. That's why he joined Jebran, who could show him a bit how the world works in his way. Affectionate, maybe. Let's maybe make him affectionate. So it's maybe like the old guy is more grumbly and grumpy, and this guy is maybe more affectionate to that sense. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so which is also kind of interesting because this means basically these have bonds to each other, which makes sense. So this is the first bond that they definitely share with each other is with each other. So they have at least that bond. So let's roll for name for that thing here. Ironlander names. Katania. Okay. Oh, okay. Maybe it's that makes even more fun interaction. So the old guy is maybe in some sort of in a father role, and of course, I mean, as a bloke, he probably has no idea how a girl is growing up. So yeah, maybe this makes sense. Okay, so we have Katania and Jebran. Okay, this is like a tag team here. Okay, this comes together quite nicely, I have to say. I'm always astonished how well this thing works in establishing such things. Okay, so we have that, and we already have some sort of bond, so they share a bond with each other. So this makes sense. So maybe because Katania is affectionate, I should probably put so I'm going again with the standard array of bonuses for the attribute. So that's 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. So I'm thinking about, so maybe make heart at least a 3 or a 2. with for Catania, because she's the affectionate one, so it maybe makes more sense that she's um, uh, the more talkative, or the one with the better words, maybe for that. So that's maybe something that makes sense. So let's also check what we could do. Um, um, with Catania. So with Catania, I want to try out rituals with her. So ritual is the kind of magic within Ironsworn, and in my world, it's maybe like some more of a hidden magic. Um, um, Okay, so there I'm looking now a bit through the rituals that come with the game here, and which maybe makes sense on a sense. So since she hurt with her, because she's remorseful because she hurt someone that she loved with her magic, it may be something that's something maybe that's also a bit out of her control, that is maybe also a bit hurtful, or so like that. um, so let's see, maybe if there's something like that. um, uh, Okay, there's divination, that's something like that, because it can take blood to learn something about. There's also tether. Okay. Okay. This seems interesting. This sounds interesting. This also sounds interesting. Okay, so I have quickly looked through the thing here, which may not have been interesting for you to think. So I have found like some rituals that maybe sound interesting for her. So one is divination, which reads: when you take a drop of blood from a willing subject, not yourself, and cast rune carved stones, roll plus heart. On a strong hit, you may read the runes to gain insight about the subject and people close to them. So this lets me, so maybe basically I take some blood of them, and then I can read, like I can better understand them, which makes maybe sense, especially if I go for the plus hard road anyway. I have Invoke, which is also interesting. When you consume the mystical essence of your surrounding, roll plus wits. On a strong hit, add the value of reaction die to the essence track, blah, blah, blah. So basically what I could do whenever I do secure an advantage or face danger, I can use plus this essence to do that, and then basically create I get an advantage with that. So I can, instead of adding my whatever plus modifiers to that, I can do this plus essence if I roll high enough. on my action die, I get a lot of stuff here. And then tether, I can commune with the spirits. I can tether myself to a person, and then when I go back to them, I can get some additional momentum. So that's interesting. So leech. So now I have two rituals here that are more combat oriented or more offensive oriented, which is one is keen and one is leech. So keen is when you hold a weapon and sing a keen, for those it has killed, roll plus heart. On a strong hit, the wielder inflicts +1 harm when they strike or clash. If they roll a 1 on their action die when making a move to inflict harm, the magic is spent. On a weak hit, as above, but the voices of those who were slain shown in your song and your stress. So this makes sense. Okay. Yeah. I don't understand it completely, but this sounds interesting because I'm just remorseful. As I hear the voices are accumulating in my thing. That's why I am remorseful. This makes is interesting. And there's leech. I can make like a rune, and that doesn't inflict additional harm to them. And I can regain health from it. So basically, I'm leeching life. And maybe also something that's maybe somehow how I hurt the other person, that I just leached life of them and they started to wither and die. So this is something that I'm interested in. I don't quite understand it as well because there's some funny wording in there. But these are these two or these are the more offensive rituals here, and this may be something that I'm gravitating towards is either leech or keen. Yeah, I think I go for keen. So there's this. So she sings this song, and there's like this. There's maybe a lament that goes with it, and this also makes maybe sense in a way that that's maybe it's what she hears all the time, and that's maybe her background round. So find out about her magic, the voices of the keen. That's maybe her background vow, which is epic, which is way too complicated for her to comprehend anyway, as it is currently. So maybe I make her 3 hard then. She isn't maybe that hardy for that. So let's see, maybe she is the more shadowy and witsy type. So she goes 2 shadow, 2 wits, and iron and edge is 1. Again, she is not the... maybe it makes more sense to give her more iron and not so shadowy. Just because she trained with Jebran, so she may know a bit more about stuff. So yeah, let's do that. So she So she has a 1 edge, 3 hard, 2 iron, 1 shadow, and 2 wits. That's her stats. So let's also search for a path for her. She is so loyalist would be interesting for her. She's also maybe sighted, spirit bound. Ooh, this sounds interesting. Spirit bound as a path. You are haunted by someone whose death you caused through your actions or failures. When you console with their spirit, you secure an advantage or get information, add +1 and take +2 momentum on a hit. On a weak hit, also endure stress. That maybe makes sense. She still has that's how this Keen. So yeah, this makes sense. Together with Keen, she's maybe spirit bound. So it's the spirits of her of whenever she invokes that mystical power of the Keen, that these are haunting her still. So yeah, this makes sense. This comes together nicely. So she is also spirit bound, and yeah, she definitely wants to make head or tails out of everything. So spirit bound, it's also nice. So now I also need to give her, which makes sense, to give her some sort of combat talent. So I could be cutthroat. No, I think why not? So she maybe is a cutthroat. So it's, if you will, a dagger or knife. She just has a dagger or knife, but she can. She's quite deadly with it. So because of her Keen, so that's how she works. So she's a cutthroat here. So when you're in position to strike an unsuspecting foe, choose 1 before rolling at +2 and take +1 momentum, or inflict 2 harm on a hit. So that's her. So yeah, so that's her thing here. So that's how. So her background is to find out more about her magic, how that works, the Keen that she hears in the voices, her spirit that she's bound to. So yeah, so that's her, and let's come. Okay, so maybe let's come up with so maybe let's see. So let's another bond with her. So so maybe the spirit that she caused because she's remorseful of that. She hears the voice of that someone still that she heard, and that's, I say she's still, because she's spirit bound, she still has a bond with that person. So let's get another Ironlander name here. Vesna, okay. That's maybe it's a past boyfriend, past Themon. Okay, Themon. So he has a bond with that guy. Themon. Maybe it was her first love. Let's go cliche here. She killed him on an accident with her magic. The Keen. however that works. And now he is haunting her in a sense. So that's yeah. So that's how that works. So that's her second bond. Okay, so I have developed her a bit. So let's go. And the inciting incident here is the expedition of Lost Crag. And let's see. So it's a 50-50 if it's either troublesome or dangerous. So let's see, go to the oracles, let's see, it's 50-50, so 50 or lower it's troublesome and otherwise it's dangerous. It is 18, so it is just a troublesome quest. Okay, so that's the inciting incident. It's the expedition of Lost Crag. It's a troublesome quest. Let's also mark that for Jebran. So let's do Jebran then. So he's more the hardy guy here. So he's the fighter. Oh, here that maybe makes sense. Fortune Hunter, because he's trying to enrich himself. This makes sense. Weapon Master is also okay. No, that's not that. Improviser, Alchemist, Veteran makes also sense. Bladebound, no. Waterborne. Bonded, Wild Blood. Nah, I think here it makes sense. Veteran, it says when you burn momentum to improve your result in combat, envision how your hard-won fighting experience gives you the upper hand. Then take plus one momentum after you reset and add plus one when you make your next move. Once per fight, you also take initiative and burning momentum to improve a miss to a weak hit. Or Fortune Hunter, when you swear an iron vow to someone under the promise of payment, add plus one and give the quest a special mark. When you successfully fulfill your vow to them, take plus wealth equal to the rank of the quest. If you leverage wealth, then when making a move where resources are a factor, add plus one wealth and suffer minus. Add plus wealth and suffer minus one wealth. Okay, so when I'm making a move, I can add my wealth here to improve it. So basically, like paying off guards or something like that. So both of them make sense because Fortune Hunter because he's trying to get more money, and Veteran of course because he is an older guy but still good with swords. I mean, I could also take both of them if I'm honest, but I mean, this expedition probably has something to do with money, so you burn momentum to... Yeah, I think I'm trying out Fortune Hunter with him. So that's his one of his path is Fortune Hunter. Fortune Hunter. So plus one gift a special mark. Okay. Okay, so doesn't make so much money, but well, let's also give them maybe a companion here. So let's see. Last time I had not that much with help with that. Should just maybe give them a horse. It's maybe I kind of could envision that, like, again, going back to Song of Ice and Fire, when Arya was joined with the Hound. So that sounds interesting. So it's like that, a bit of a companionship here. Could also add a Hound. So yeah, let's take a Hound here. Maybe let's do that. Yeah. I mean, basically, it's his asset, so maybe it doesn't make a mammoth. I could use a mammoth. Cave lion. Or a raven. It's also like a raven hits your calls, like, or maybe not. Maybe I take just a, or maybe I am veteran. Maybe I don't have a companion here. I mean, the companion is her basically. So maybe it makes sense to also take veteran as a path. So and then just the combat talent. Yeah, why not? So let's take another path here, which is veteran. And then just take a combat talent for him. Let's see. He's probably somebody that has like an axe. That makes sense for him. Or a spear, because he's a sailor. Nah, an axe maybe. So if you will, an axe. When you strike or clash in close quarters, you may suffer minus 1 momentum and inflict +1 harm on a hit. So yeah, why not? So he's has like maybe a 200 axe, and it's just ferocious with that thing. So he's taking Sunder as his combat talent. So okay, so Jebran is a fortune hunter veteran Sunder. And Katania is a keen spirit-bound cutthroat. For him, it makes sense that he has 3 iron. He's just bloody strong with that thing, and he's maybe, I mean, wits makes sense maybe for him to put a 2. He's older, he has yeah, he's wise, maybe not beyond his years, but and Edge is also 2. He's maybe not that nimble as he was before, but he's still quite fit and can move around. So yeah, so he has Edge 2, Heart 1, Iron 3, Shadow 1, and Wits 2 as his attributes, and that's the assets done, which is always the longest part, just because there's so much that could be done here. But I think I found a good set of assets for them. So yeah, so I have done that. So now let's go back to bonds. So maybe let's see. So I could say maybe that Jebran shares a bond with the Lost Crag, so that's why they came back here, and where they found out that there is this expedition going on. So he shares a bond with them. We will find out maybe later on what that bond exactly is, but yeah, that maybe makes sense. So I mean, it says mark up to 3 background bonds, so I don't have to do 3 in total. And I think I'm currently not feeling anything else. Yeah, why not? So that's maybe it. So that they came back to that. So now let's only find out what the background wow of Jebran is. So what is his is it just retirer's style as a background wow? Maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe there's something else. Maybe a deep-seated thing here. Can I? So major plot twists? No, it doesn't make sense. Or maybe his background wow could be to leave a legacy, so to speak. So and he thinks that Katania could be that legacy. Yeah, why not? So that's why he's so that's yeah, that's what he vowed to teach her, to look over her, and to give her the knowledge that he has. So yeah, so leave a legacy, teaching Katania. So it's maybe also an epic quest, because who knows how long teaching something is. Okay, so that makes sense. So I have a background vow. I have the anxiety incident, which I still have to swear the iron vow to it. I have the assets settled. I have bonds settled. I have everything resets. I have a name. I have stats for them. I have a more or less a character concept, or a character concepts. So that makes sense. So yeah, so there's this like master student thing here going on. Katania has this background of Katania. I also say Katania, but it's Katania. She has this so she has this history background, where she has this magic and she doesn't know how to use it, and she hopes that maybe Jebran could teach her, or while she is on the way with him, she could learn more stuff to maybe control it. So yeah, that's that makes sense. So I'm trying out with two characters, and let's see how this interaction works. So both of them, they have made their way to the Lost Crack, because they heard of that they want to start an expedition to a glade. Maybe the glade is on an island, or I don't know. So they came here because there was the promise of gold. Or promise of iron, I would say, which maybe makes more sense, because iron is maybe a resource that is more valuable than gold for them at the moment. So this makes sense. So they get to the village out of the promise of money, so they swear the iron vow to undertake that. So they basically make a contract. Okay, we will accompany you on this journey as sort of muscle or something like that. That's for that. So I'm using Jebran's asset here already. Of course, I was intelligent enough to choose exactly that asset here. So I'm swearing an iron vow to someone under the promise of payment, which I is. and I add +1 to it. So I do a Swear an Iron Vow. It's on +hard, which is catastrophically bad for him, but I mean he gets a +1 modifier, so it's not that bad anyway. And it's still a strong hit. So you are emboldened, and it's clear what you must do next. Yeah, I have to go onto that journey. Of course, it makes sense. And I take +2 momentum. What's also not clear for me is this is a little bit wonky in the rules. I think both of them get momentum, but I'm not sure because this is something that I have to look up again in the rules. So, but I think one makes the roll on both of them. But let's see. I mean, it's a strong hit here, which is also a good thing. Okay, let's mark that. So Fortune Hunter is on the Expedition of Lost Cracks, so I will get money out of it, which is good. So we will see the next time when we go to this glade, and we will find out if it's maybe on a separate island where we have to sail to or something like that, and something could happen on the way on the open seas. So yeah, we will see. Yeah, it was fun creating again the character and coming up with this kind of characters without really having an idea at the beginning to having 2 characters here that work, and we will see how this will work going on when I have to control now 2 characters instead of 1. Yeah, we will have a see how this will turn out. So we will hear us in the next episode.